And we're live. Hey, we're live. This is Jerry Pallotta from Boston, Massachusetts. And today we have a special guest, a guy I've known for probably 25 years, author Sneed Collard. And believe it or not, he is out in Montana. So today we have a special Zoom, Boston and Montana. So for all you remote learners out there, teachers, principals, students, moms, dads, thanks for tuning in. And Sneed has a special show today that's going to be specializing in birds. And I thought about it. I wrote, one bird book. How's that? Bird alphabet. That's got to be 30. It's not, let's see, it's got to be 35 years old. No, 30, 34 years old. Bird alphabet.
They should release an anniversary edition for sure. Brent, are you hearing us there?
Brent, huh? And thank you to Edgar Stewart, wherever he is now, for illustrating the book. You know, he did a great job. But hi, Sneed.
Hey, Jerry.
So we decided to get all my author buddies on. You know, we've been on the road for how many years? The other day we had Jack Gantos and Roland Smith on, and we figured out that we had been to like 9,000 schools or 10,000 schools. So I'm sure with you, I could add another 1,000 easily, or maybe 2,000.
So. Yeah, I think so.
So fans that are out there, these are my road buddies, and you could tell us about yourself. So don't be nervous. Just let's pretend you and I are sitting out there in Montana, which we were when I bicycled across the country. I stopped and saw you. Isn't that right?
You did. We had lunch with my son. And what year was that, Jerry?
That was probably, let's see when I was, I finished in, I don't know, 2010 or 15 or something. I don't know, something like that.
Okay. I have to tell everyone, though, that even though Jerry is trying to make me feel calm, I'm always terrified around Jerry. And so this is going to be a really difficult thing because he's such an imposing character.
Small teeth. I have small teeth. And birds don't even have teeth. That's one thing I know.
That's true. No, actually.
I never realized the turtles don't have teeth. We did a show. That's why I want to invite you to this other show. We did a show where we took turns, 4 authors, telling amazing things we learned while writing our books.
Oh,
so there's an amazing thing. The turtles don't have teeth. You know,
yeah,
most people don't.
I'm not sure I've ever thought of that, even though I've written about turtles a lot. So,
and frogs don't have fingernails except one frog. There's only one frog with fingernails, right?
Yes. So
but you must have some great facts because you did a spider book. I never did a spider book, right?
Yeah,
and you did a beak book too, didn't you?
I did a book on beaks, and never one just on spiders, but I've included them a lot in my books. So, and I have to tell you, Jerry, most people don't know this, but Jerry inspired me a lot when I was just getting started writing. I was at a conference and I went around to the different booths to see which publishers might be interested in the crazy stuff I was writing about. And I came to this booth called Charles Bridge, and Jerry's beautiful.
That's right. We have the same publisher.
Yes. And I loved his books, and that made me submit to them, and was the beginning of a long history of getting to know each other.
Yeah. How many books did you do for Charles Bridge?
Let's see. I don't know exactly. At least a dozen, maybe 15. I've got one.
It might be as many as 20.
Yeah. I've got one in the works now with them, and so I still work for them.
A teacher just got on from Colorado, Susan Hutchins. Do you know Susan Hutchins?
I know Susan. Susan's one of my favorite.
Hi, Jerry and Sneed. Glad to see you both together today. And then. What else does it say? By the way, they tell me, there's a Linda Edwards from Toronto, Canada on. And then Susan says, I told a second grade teacher about this session. Her students study birds and use some of Sneed's books. I hope some of the kids are watching today. Hi, kids.
Hi, kids.
So, all right. Let it loose, Sneed. Tell us about yourself. Where did you grow up?
Okay,
By the
well,
way, where are you sitting right now? What city, what state?
I am sitting in Missoula, Montana right now, and I'm just going to share a screen with you here. Do you see that now, Jerry?
I see it. I see it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm in Missoula right now, but I grew up in the town of Santa Barbara, California. And my life, like yours, Jerry, has been inspired a lot by nature. And while you went out lobstering and things when you were growing up, I had
Yeah.
these two crazy parents who were both biology students at the University of California at Santa Barbara. My mom
Wow.
would become a lifelong high school science teacher. And I want to take that moment just to give a big shout out to all you incredible teachers who are out there keeping education going through this tough times. I'm so impressed with how adaptable you are and all you're doing for these stay-at-home students. So yeah, so I came from kind of a biology background with my mom and my dad, who was a professor. He got his PhD when I was about 8 years old, as you can see there. And so I grew up with all kinds of crazy critters around all the time. Speaking of turtles, one summer we had about 50 turtles in the backyard when I was spending a summer with my dad down in Florida. And all of that made me want to study marine biology at UC Berkeley, which is exactly what I did. But I decided early on that I didn't want to be a full-time biologist. I wanted to write books instead. And I've been very lucky to be inspired by my love of science with my books. I've gotten to travel the tropical rainforest and go diving with
Now,
scientists.
what fish is that? That's a grouper, right?
Yeah, it's a grouper called a potato cod. It's not really a cod. It's what, like you said, a great
Wow,
big
I've never seen
grouper.
that fish before.
They are very cool. This is you can, if you go to Australia, you can go see this fish. It's probably still there. And so and so these kinds of experiences have inspired me for all kinds of different books. But I want to say that today I especially want to talk about.
I'm sorry, Sneed. Can you go back one? Go back one.
Sure.
So there's leaving home,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And what's that one about? Or am I wrecking your talk?
No, you're not. But why don't we come around to that at the end again, and I'll talk
Animals
about
Asleep. You know, when I went to Africa, I came back and told my editor I wanted to write a book about how animals sleep. And he talked me out of it. That's okay. He probably saw your book and said, it's been done. Animal dads, beaks. Okay, go.
Yeah. And so, so I've been inspired by nature in a lot of ways, just like you have, Jerry, but birds have been really gotten my imagination the last few years. When you write for 25 years, you end up writing about birds occasionally. I wrote a couple chapters about birds in my book, Monteverde, about scientists in Costa Rica. I wrote that picture book called Beaks, which is still really doing well, which I'm so happy about because, it shows there's a big interest in birds still. I wrote a book about birds of prey and even an action adventure novel called Flashpoint that features birds of prey. But I didn't really get into birds till about 6 or 7 years ago when I decided to write about this kind of bird. And can you identify this bird, Jerry?
Woodpecker?
What kind of woodpecker?
I don't know. A red tufted woodpecker. I don't know.
Good guess. Good guess. This is the one most common in people's backyards. It's called a Downy woodpecker. And
Is that one in New England? Is a Downy woodpecker?
Yep. When you stop on your next bike ride in a park, look around, you'll probably see one of these guys.
I've heard them. And at least 2 people in the last month have called me to say woodpeckers were pecking their house.
Oh yeah, those are probably northern flickers, and they make a whole lot of racket this time of year. So
yeah,
But anyway, I decided I wanted to write about woodpeckers because I thought they were cool. So as I often do when I write a book, the first thing I did was find a scientist who could help teach me about these birds. And his name was Dick Hutto. And I said, can you take me out and show me about woodpeckers, Dick? And he said, sure. So we went out to a local place here. Sure enough, he started teaching me about woodpeckers. But then he started talking about forest fires. Turns out that forest fires, you know, I don't know about you, Jerry, but I was always taught forest fires were bad. Is that what you learned growing up?
Yes.
Yeah, they're bad. Smokey Bear told us that. But it turns out that forest fires are actually some of the best things in the world for birds and other wildlife. How can that be? Well, it turns out that when a forest fire kills a forest like this, and there's all these dead trees, within weeks, all these wood-boring beetles descend on the forest and lay their eggs in the trees, the dead wood. They hatch out, and these big, fat, juicy beetle grubs start gnawing their way through the wood. And for woodpeckers, this is the feast of a lifetime, especially for black-backed woodpeckers, which can be found almost only in burned forest. Now,
Wow.
Also hairy woodpeckers and three-toed woodpeckers love it. And of course, as these birds are digging out these big, fat, juicy beetle grubs.
Is his beak full of larvae?
Yep, that's one big fat grub. So you can see what a great meal these are. And we'll come back to beetle grubs later in the show too. But of course, these woodpeckers, when they start eating grubs, they start burrowing holes or digging out holes for themselves to stay in. And they make a lot of extra holes that they don't use. And when they start doing that, it opens up the whole forest for all these other birds that have to nest in holes, but can't make them themselves. Birds like house wrens and mountain bluebirds, and even birds that don't use holes to live in love the burned forest. Why? This is a Western tanager, and they find a lot of food in these burned forests, but they also find safety. And you may ask, well, from what? Turns out that all these pesky squirrels and other mammals are huge predators on birds and bird eggs. But a forest fire clears out all of these pesky mammals from the forest, at least for a few years, and nesting success for these birds skyrockets for a few years. So all kinds of birds love burned forest. And
I have to ask you a question. Is that okay?
Sure.
Did you take these photographs?
I took I think I took all of these photographs.
Wow.
And that's a fun thing, part of writing too. I'll talk about that in a little bit too. But when I learned this story, I decided I wasn't going to write about woodpeckers. I was going to write about how important burned forests are to animals such as birds. And so, but while I was writing this, I still wasn't totally into birds at this point. But while I was writing it, you mentioned photography. Started learning about them. Sometimes I take my son Braden with me, and we've started learning about birds together. But we didn't really get into birds until we watched a movie called The Big Year. Have you ever seen this movie, Jerry?
No.
You gotta see this movie. In fact, everyone ought to see this movie. It's about these three fanatic birders who go around the country and they compete to see how many birds they can find in North America and try to set a record. And after we watched this movie, my son Braden, who was about 10 at the time, he turns to me and he says, "Daddy, we should do a big year." And I said, "Oh, okay." So we went out, and I think that first year we found maybe 120 species of birds. This is my son Braden on the left here. But he also met another friend who's a birder his same age. So we went out birding together. And over the next couple of years, we learned a lot about birds. And then we started thinking, well, maybe we should do a really serious big year. So 2016, we set out to see how many birds we could see in North America in one calendar year. And we started, the coldest day of the year is about -10 degrees. It was so cold in Montana that the birds were turning blue. And so still we went on and we saw lots of.
Is that a falcon? Is that a falcon?
That was, yes, good eye, Jerry. That's a merlin, a falcon called a merlin.
You know, this is crazy, but I did write a book, Falcon versus Hawk. I forgot all about it. I must be half asleep this morning.
Was it a who would win book?
Yeah, Falcon versus Hawk.
So who would win?
Falcon versus Hawk and his secretary. What?
So who would win?
Well, you know, I can't tell all my secrets, but I was watching YouTube and I watched a falcon, a peregrine falcon, take out a red-tailed hawk.
Wow.
It's right on YouTube. You can watch it live.
Oh,
so
I will look at that.
I was going to have the falcon win because he could fly 200 miles per hour.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
There it is, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Show my own book.
Oh, yeah.
That's my newest book. So when I saw that beak right there, when I was in Ireland, I went falconing.
Uh-huh.
And they brought us like right next to the falcons. They were on a tether, but I saw a falcon up close and his beak looked just like that.
They're amazing birds. They're amazing birds. But yeah, so that kind of kicked off our big year. Here's a long-eared owl we saw in the winter. But by the end of February, oh, by the way, I should say we set a goal of seeing 250 birds for our big year. And by the end of February, we only had 50. But we were about to head out on 2 out-of-state adventures. The first one to Arizona, where we saw all kinds of crazy cool birds like cactus wrens and curved-billed thrashers, vermilion flycatchers. And Arizona is crazy because you can see birds like roadrunners right behind gas stations in downtown Tucson. So we came back from that trip with about 120 birds. So many, we raised our goal to 300 birds for the year. And then we headed off to Texas and right during spring migration to a place called High Island and start picking up all kinds of great warblers like prothonotary warblers and black-throated green warblers, summer tanagers, and even amazing wading birds like these roseate spoonbills. And by the way, we were also there during one of Texas's annual 100-year floods. And I think, Jerry, you were there then because after this, I went to a conference called the Texas Library Association. Do you recognize any of those people, Jerry?
I recognize you and Carol York and Sammy Garnett and who else is there?
I can't remember her name either.
I can't remember her name either.
I hope she's not watching. But anyway, you were at the same conference, I think, Jerry, at Texas Library Association. So we crossed paths there during our big year.
Yeah.
Now, so I came back from Texas. We had about 240 birds by the time we got back from Texas.
I don't know. Sammy's feeling well right now. I don't know the status of Sammy, but she's not feeling well. Let's see. What kind of bird? The yellow something?
Yeah, yellow-headed blackbird. And this was back in Montana after our Texas trip. And like
there's a bird I have never seen or heard of anywhere.
Oh, this bird?
Yeah.
Oh, they might only be in the West. So
I will say this: when I'm writing my books,
yeah,
I go to bookstores and I read field guides.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or I look at field guides, or I buy field guides. Like you could buy a field guide of every whale in the world. You could buy a field guide of every dolphin or every eastern bird or something like that. I don't think I've ever seen this bird.
Well, they are a great bird to see, and I'll show you one next time you're in Montana. But I wanted to show this because back in Montana during our big year, we were seeing a lot of very cool birds like this, yellow-headed blackbirds, trumpeter swans here, and things like this, blue-footed boobies. Now, Jerry, do you believe I saw this bird in Montana?
No.
Ah,
Did you?
good. No, I didn't. I threw this in here because that same year of our big year, we got to
I'm
go.
sorry I missed one. I was looking at the mail. Go back one.
Oh, so this is a trumpeter swan, but
Wow,
we
go
don't want
back
to get bogged down with him. Let's go to the blue-footed booby here.
Yeah.
And the reason I threw that in is because the same year we did the big year, we got to visit the Galapagos Islands. Have you ever been down there, Jerry?
No, I have not. Look at that.
Oh, there we go. There we
Blue-footed booby
Perfect.
in my book. There you go. Oh, I have not been to the Galapagos.
Oh, well, it is an amazing place. We saw all kinds of great iguanas down there. And of course, the famous tortoises.
Oh, yes, I remember you sent me that photo.
Yeah, yeah. This is
That's a frigate bird. Is that a frigate bird?
Frigate bird. Very good, very good. And while we were down there, we met this guy. You may have heard of him. His name was Chuck or Charles Darwin or something like that. And he told us about this crazy theory called natural selection, which I guess explains how we all got here, you know. And so that was an amazing, amazing trip. And then to wrap up our big year, we did one final trip out to California. By this time, we'd raised our goal to 350 birds. And in California, we got to see California condors.
Wow.
And then finish up our big year by seeing a wonderful northern pygmy owl here. But let me ask you this, Jerry, do you think we made our goal of 350 birds for the year?
I'm going to guess that you did 500 birds.
Oh, you're so kind. No, actually, we fell short. We only got about 338 birds.
Wow.
But you know, the number doesn't matter anyway. It's the time we got to spend together. And of course, I got some good book ideas out of it. I wrote my first adult book called Warblers and Woodpeckers, a father-son big year of birding. And I decided to write, that guy Chuck Darwin inspired me to write a book about evolution called One Iguana, Two Iguanas. So you know how that is, Jerry. You never know when you're going to get ideas for new books.
Right. When I was in Ireland and I went falconing, I swear the guy just handed me this book. I swear.
There you go.
Like a gift from heaven. It was like he started describing falcons, he started describing hawks, and he actually had a Harris hawk.
Oh, I love those guys. I love those.
So the Harris hawk is the one that he, had fly out and come back and land on our arms.
He was doing falconing with a hawk, right?
Yeah, with the Harris hawk.
Oh.
But then he went back to the, what do they call it? The falconry, and we saw a barn owl and a falcon. And I'm trying to remember what else was there. Right up. In fact, I'm going to get it. Hold on.
Okay.
Here's a picture. Here's a picture of me with the barn owl. Where is it? There it is. There's a picture. Nice. So see, I have the glove on.
Yeah. Yeah.
While you're talking, I'll try to find the falcon he had. I mean, the falcon.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit more about my adventures here because birding is.
So it's one iguana, two iguanas. How many pages is that book?
That's like a 48-page book. So
Oh yeah.
that's a little bit, that's for like you grades 3rd through 6th graders out there and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, but you know, the great thing about birding is it never stops. And the year after our big year, we decided to take the family to South America, to Ecuador, Peru for 5 weeks. And it takes a long time. If you kids watching here, you should know, it takes a long time to get to South America, especially when your horse is slow like mine was. So that really took a long time to get there. But Jerry, if you were going to South America, where's the first place you would want to visit, do you think?
South America?
Yeah. What's the first like ecosystem you'd want to visit?
I guess I would want to go up the Amazon.
Exactly. And that's the first thing we did when we were down there. We spent.
I will show one more picture. Ready? Not to steal your show, but look.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that the Harris hawk? They are gorgeous birds.
So all you folks out there, I highly recommend in your neighborhood, find where they do falconing and go do it. So you're on the Amazon. I'm jealous.
Yeah, we spent a week there. I never thought I'd get to visit there, but saw all kinds of really cool critters like pygmy marmosets, big spiders as big as your hand, black caimans. And then one day we got to go and look for some birds up this big tower here. The local people had built this tower that was like 200 feet above the ground. And we saw all kinds of amazing birds up there, like blue dacnys and long-billed wood creepers, pied puffbills. And we saw a harpy eagle, which I never expected to see.
Wow, look at that.
It was about 2 miles away, which is why the photograph is so horrible. But amazing time down there. But I have to tell you, Jerry, being in the Amazon isn't always easy. One day we ran out of food and were forced to eat beetle grubs. And have you ever eaten a live beetle grub, Jerry?
No.
Well, it's a little tricky because they can pinch your tongue. So you have to bite them behind the head to kind of kill them and then pop it in your mouth. And, you know, a lot of people will say, oh,
taught you how to do it?
I know how to do it. And there I am doing it right there. And I have to say that a lot of people will tell you these live beetle grubs taste like nuts, kind of. Yeah. They're lying. So after you kill it, you pop it in your mouth and you bite into it. You know what it tastes like? It tastes like a mouthful of snot. That's really what it tastes like. And so, but once you swallow that, they're kind of chewy, like bubble gum or something like that. So they're not too bad once you get over that.
Now, did your kids eat it?
They ate the fried ones. I was the only one who went for the live ones that you see here. Yeah.
I would eat it.
I know you would eat it. That's why I went
today in the background, we have our secret weapons, Mary Alice Curran and Jamie Donnelly. Jamie's in Texas and Mary Alice is in Connecticut, helping us do this show. But when I first met Mary Alice, I told her she had to eat a raw periwinkle.
Oh.
So you smash the periwinkle, which is a snail, an ocean snail, and then you just pop it in your mouth. And when we were kids, we used to joke that they taste like boogers. So if I could eat a raw periwinkle, I guess I could eat, I guess I could eat a grub.
I'm sure you can, and I'll bet that Roland Smith and Steve Swinburne would also eat these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to call Darwin because Steve Swinburne might have descended from a grub.
Well, I'll hear from you.
We have a couple more. Jennifer Kramer says, hello from North Dakota. Thank you for helping our teachers still reach authors during our distance learning time. Hey, you're welcome, Jennifer.
Yeah. Yeah, we love all you teachers, and we're so happy. It's great what Jerry's put together here for all of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, just went through some more South America shots, saw lots
Tell
more.
me you went to Machu Picchu, did you?
We did.
Wow.
You know, I have a curse, Jerry. Whenever I go to a World Heritage site, it pours down rain. And so I get soaked to the bone. And that happened here.
Was it cold up there?
It was just wet. It wasn't too cold. It was wet. But there were great birds around, so we didn't mind. And then, but this trip, of course, inspired some other bird books that I've written, Woodpeckers, Drilling Holes, and Bagging Bugs, which I finally got around to 6 years after I started writing it. And then I recently, my newest book is called
6 years. I have plenty of books like that.
Yeah, 6 years. And I'll bet you've waited even longer to get a book published than that.
Right.
Yeah. So,
birds of every color. I love that.
Well, thank you. And my son Braden and I took all the photos of this. So that was really a lot of fun. And it's not just a book about, it's a book all about the colors, but it explains why the birds have the different colors and what the adaptations are and what the colors can tell you. So it was a really fun book to write, especially because Braden took a lot of the photos for it.
Yeah.
So yeah. But like I said, the great thing about birds is that, it never stops. I was recently at a school visit in Israel, and Braden and I went over a couple weeks early to do some great birding there.
What bird is that?
This is the national bird of Israel. It's called a hoopoe bird. Or a dookie fat in Hebrew is what they call it.
Dookie fat?
Dookie fat, yep. This is a white-throated kingfisher that was there.
Yeah.
Pied kingfishers. And we also got to go to this place, which is called, Wadi Rum in Jordan. And this is where they filmed the first Star Wars movie and movies like The Martian and Lawrence of Arabia. So that was really a lot of fun to go there too. And of course, we had to ride camels while we were there and visit other World Heritage sites where it also rained on us. And so, yeah, so that's all the pictures I wanted to show you today.
Those are fabulous. I don't want you to steal all the pictures, so I'm going to try to find one picture for you in a minute. But I did write a book. I thought of another bird book I wrote, but I wrote a book, Rattlesnake versus Secretary Bird.
Oh, wow.
I love the secretary bird.
Aren't they
So
cool?
at the museum, you know what it's like. So I was at a museum in Harvard's Museum of Natural History. Have you ever been there?
No, never.
It's worth flying to Boston to take your kids to the Harvard Museum of Natural History. They used to call it the Harvard Museum of Comparative Zoology. I guess that's too complicated for people these days. Comparative zoology. But this museum has every mammal stuffed, including some extinct mammals like the Tasmanian pouched wolf. So you can stand right next to an extinct Tasmanian pouched wolf. But they also have bats with like 3-foot wingspans. But the bird section is just incredible.
I'll bet.
Well, if you think Harvard's been around 400 years, I think. So for 400 years, all these professors have been bringing species back to the campus. So that's my hot tip for all you out there in Boston. If you come to Boston, go see the Harvard Museum of Natural History. Well, so when I was in there, I saw a stuffed secretary bird.
Okay.
So then I thought, wow, that bird is really cool. It's like 4 feet tall. So I read up on it, and then I thought, I got to put that in one of my books. I was trying to make my books be different. So I did see one in the wild. I'm going to try to find the picture right now. You
that
can
was
keep talking.
my next question is if you saw one in Africa.
I did. But when I saw him, he wasn't eating a snake. He was eating grasshoppers. And I did. He was eating grasshoppers. I don't think I got that close to him, but I'm trying to find it right now. I should be more organized, but I'm not.
Well, I don't want to give away the punchline, but I would put my money on the secretary bird if it's coming up against a rattlesnake.
I think you're right. You know, his legs are so skinny, you know?
Yeah. Hey, while you're doing that, I just want to tell everyone that that my son and I write a birding blog that you can continue our adventures with here. It's called fathersonbirding.com. So you can keep checking us out there. And like Jerry, I got into the video business the last couple of weeks here because I wanted to create some stuff for teachers and kids at home. So if you look up my YouTube channel, you can check that out.
Yeah, we want to know all that stuff. First of all, can you
yeah.
buy your books on your website?
You can. There's a link to Amazon, my Amazon store on the website, but I always, of course, like it if you buy the books from your local independent bookstore. And so you can go and order them there.
They can't go there right now, right?
Well, a lot of them are taking phone orders and stuff. So you can call them, I think. Yeah.
I didn't find my secretary bird yet, but I should be more organized, you know?
Well,
there he is right there. Well, you won't be. There he is right there.
Let's see.
Let me see. Where'd he go?
Oh, there I see him. I see him out in the grass there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I would love to see one of those guys.
He's right there. Look at him.
Oh, yeah. You've even got him on video.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I didn't get up close, but I saw him eating grasshoppers, you know?
Yeah. They would be, I would rather see a secretary bird than I think some of the big 5 mammals while I'm there, because they're that cool.
Yeah. I don't know. The only way I could make you jealous probably is I went to Antarctica.
Oh.
So I went the Falklands to South Georgia Island to Antarctica. In Antarctica, well, my host, maybe you know who my guide, you know, I was on a ship with 135 people, but we had these incredible guides. And one of the guides is Richard Harrison. Do you know him? He,
I don't think I've met him.
I think he's the #1 seabird guy in the world. But he took us up this hill and we saw a snowy petrel, very rare bird, a snowy petrel.
Oh, was that in the Falklands?
Was that where?
In the Falklands?
No, it was in Antarctica. It was in the, it was on Brown Bluff in Antarctica.
Wow.
Not sure if I could find it. I might be able to find it. So then, you know, broad-faced, what do you call it? I got to think of those birds. Albatross. A broad-faced albatross.
I've never even heard of that one.
Yeah. I'll see what I can do for you in a second. Hold on. It'll just take me a second. Keep talking, buddy. Keep talking.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I'm not seeing the chat button. Did anyone have any questions that they want?
Let's see. Let's see if we got any more here.
Let's see.
Susan says, I think sometimes kids think they're too young to write. So I've told classes about your son. Well, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Your son's out there researching with you. And then I'm sure he could write about his experiences with you, you know?
He has. And in fact, he co-writes that blog with me that I showed you, that father-son birding. So we try to take turns writing that blog. and it's a great way to just keep your writing skills sharp and develop them.
Yeah. Sneed, it says, Susan says, what would you say? They're asking you, what would you say to kids to encourage them to write?
Well, the first thing I'd say is start keeping a journal. Just write down what happens to you every day in a diary or a journal. And then, just think about things that you're really interested in and make up stories about them. It's so much fun. Both of my kids do that. They do it a little less now that they're in junior high and high school. But, writing is such a crazy business right now. I don't do it just to become a professional writer. Do it to discover how much fun it is just to write. And so that's what I'd say. Write for the joy of it. Just make up stories and share them with your friends, because that's really a lot of fun to do.
Stephen Swinburne says, author Stephen Swinburne, who may have evolved from a grub.
Yes, I remember him.
Yes. How do you record your ideas?
How do I what?
How do you record your ideas? Stephen Swinburne says.
Okay.
It says paper or digital. How do you record your ideas?
Oh, record them. Okay, great. That was the word I was missing. So, so I write into my journal a lot, especially when I'm traveling. I write religiously every day in my journal. But my big tool also is a camera. And so here, I'll show you my camera that I use when I go out on these trips. So this is my camera that I use, and I take it with me everywhere. And especially this allows me to come up with a lot of ideas because I like to have the photographs for a book before I write the book.
It looks like you could take over the world with that camera.
Yes, it's very powerful. Yes.
It's like a device James Bond would be looking for.
Yes, be very nice to me because I can do amazing things with that camera.
By the way, I took this with my iPhone. There is the snowy petrel.
Wow.
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 Linda Edwards said, do you have a picture of the snowy bird you were talking about? There it is.
There it is.
There's the snowy petrel, and there it is right there. So he was sitting on his eggs, I think, inside this little crack in January in Antarctica, out on the tip in a place called Brown Bluff.
Nice.
So there, look, this might be the best one. How do you like that one?
Let's see, hold it up just a little. There we go. Perfect. Wow.
Sorry. There we go. How's that?
Yeah, I am very jealous. Seabirds are like the last friend, not the last, but they're a really tough group to learn, and to see them is even more difficult. So, yeah, let's see. Oh,
here is a Gentoo penguin sitting on an egg. Most of them have one egg, and they taught us that the Gentoo has two eggs.
Oh.
And if there's tons of food, they feed both eggs. And if there's not enough food that year, they just feed one egg. Isn't that great? Isn't that wild?
But they're usually successful raising both chicks.
I love this one. It's sort of in slow motion. Well, yeah, these are Adelies.
Oh, penguins are just too cute.
It was in slow motion. Maybe you like this one.
Here, I skipped over the one penguin photo that I showed you today. I should go back to that. Let's see where, oh, there it is. And of course, these are the Galapagos penguins here. Oops. Oh, I'm moving all over the place. There they are. And so, yeah. And they're the only ones that live on the equator, of course. And were you able to see, how many different kinds of penguins did you see down there, Jerry?
7.
7, wow.
I should show them all, but maybe I will because we have a little time. Well, here is. Let me see. Let's see what I got here. Um, well, there's some kings behind me.
Oh.
Some kings. I'll show you my favorite one that I love to show people because I felt like when I was walking, I felt like I was in Manhattan, only I was walking with penguins. But I felt like I was walking down Fifth Avenue, you know?
Hey, I've got a
Uh,
book idea for you, Jerry. How
yeah.
about who would win, Emperor Penguin versus Krill?
Emperor penguin
Versus
versus krill.
Krill.
Yeah. Are they the ones that eat a million of them?
Yeah, well, I think that all the penguins, I think, eat krill. I'm not sure of that, though.
Here we go. How do you like that? I felt like I was walking down the street.
Wow.
Those are kings.
And like, did they come up above your waist?
They were about up to my waist, yeah.
Wow.
You know?
Not bothered by people at all?
I'll show you my favorite one. I have put this out on the internet. You ready for this? It's only
Yeah.
16 seconds long. Here we go.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. Just keep watching.
Are
Watch.
this-
That's a predator. That's a skua. Look at that.
Ah,
500,000.
amazing.
500,000 in one place.
Wow. Wow. And are the skuas eating the dead, like babies that have died, or are they eating eggs, or what are they feeding on there?
I think they go after what. Yeah, here's a good. They go after whatever they can.
Okay.
Like I pretty much. There's a pretty good picture there. I pretty much
Nice.
watch them eat a dead seal, a dead penguin. You know,
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
eating like. I
Very
think they're opportunistic. Like if they get a chance, they go after a baby penguin. You know,
nice. What was the name of the company you went to Antarctica with, Jerry?
I went with here's some macaronis. Here's some macaronis.
Oh, look at that.
I went with Silver Sea.
What was it called?
Silver Sea. I think it's an
Oh,
Italian cuisine.
okay.
So I saw a rock hopper. Well, the big joke was I went all the way down there and I saw a rock hopper, which is in the New England Aquarium. So this friend of mine
much
said,
cooler to see it down there.
this friend of mine said, you went all the way there to see something you could see at the New England Aquarium. Well,
Hey, I wanted to ask you, so what books came out of this trip to Antarctica?
I don't think oh yeah, I just finished a book. Oh, I'll show you. You remind me to show you something. I saw elephant seals.
Okay.
I could stand right next to them. You know, they just told us to stay away from their mouths. Oh, you know what I learned that I never knew? I learned that there's 2 seals, maybe 3, that can walk on land. The
Oh,
elephant. So only a sea lion and a fur seal can walk on land. So they
okay.
walk on their front paws, and their back paw is like they sort of use as like a crutch. And
Okay.
that an elephant seal and all the other seals, like a harbor seal, they can't walk on land. So they kind of waddle with their blubber. They kind of just waddle. You know?
I did not know that. I did not
Yeah,
know that.
only 2. So I'll show you that, and I'll show you that in a second because I have great pictures of an elephant seal. You'll love this. I'll be there in a second. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You ready
Uh,
for the elephant seals? Everyone that sees this, just, I don't know if they laugh or what, but they have a great elephant seal here. All right, here's one right here. Oops. How's that? Here
let's
he
see.
is.
Oh,
Hold on. Is he moving? Oh, sorry.
there we go. Let's see, the people are moving. The elephant seal isn't moving yet.
How about that one?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Was he mad at you guys?
No, he
No?
was just sick of wherever he was, and he was heading to the ocean.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he had gone to sleep, say. We didn't bother him at all. We weren't allowed to go near anything, and we had no intention. Everyone was great, you know? I
Yeah.
like that.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I did write a book. Nobody knows this, but I did write a book, Walrus versus Elephant Seal.
Oh,
A walrus weighs 3,000 pounds, but an elephant seal weighs 8,000.
wow. Wow.
Southern elephant seal weighs 8,000 pounds, and a walrus weighs 3,000, but they would never meet each other because the southern elephant seal is from Antarctica or down the south on the southern hemisphere, and the walrus is in the northern hemisphere. So I'm working on a book like that. So
Cool.
I've never seen a walrus. I don't
Yeah.
even think I've seen one in the zoo, but I did see elephant seals all over the place, you know?
Very nice. Very
Yeah,
nice.
it was great. But you can see in this picture here, there's the elephant seal in the foreground, um, and the penguins are in the background right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they call those penguins back there the singles bar. And then the penguins on the other side, which I'll show you in a second. The penguins on the other side are is like the nursery. You know, there was 500,000 of them in one spot, which is hard to imagine. Yeah, look.
Hey, I have a question. Do elephant seals eat penguins?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
Leopard seals eat them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All that I read is that they eat other seals, and they eat sharks, and they eat rays, and they eat fish.
Well, that picture there looks like Woodstock. Yeah. And you were at Woodstock, weren't you, Jerry?
No, I was only 15. My father, I don't think my father would let me go, you know. Although I can honestly say that I heard in our neighborhood that Jimi Hendrix was playing there, and we had no idea it was about 20 or 30 bands or whatever it was, 50 bands. But we heard Jimi Hendrix was playing there, so we all wanted to go.
Yeah. Hey, and I have to tell everybody, you may not know this about Jerry yet, but Jerry is a huge Beach Boys fan. I don't know if he's talked about that yet, but he actually got me and my daughter really into the Beach Boys. And so I never really liked them before Jerry started talking to me about them. Have you been to any concerts by the Beach Boys lately, Jerry?
Well, I've seen Brian Wilson probably 30 times.
Okay. Okay.
And I've seen the Beach Boys maybe 20 times.
Mm-hmm. Are they still touring though?
You know, crazy things happen when you're on the road, you know? And when I was on the road, I met a librarian who had a Brian Wilson gold record, and I bought it.
Oh, and so you got it?
I bought it, yeah.
That's great.
I don't see how I could show it. I don't think I could show it right now, but maybe for another time. Hey, thank you, everybody. I think we went long enough. Sneed, you're fabulous and very interesting to hang out with.
Thanks for having me, Jerry, and keep on
Did you have any
all you
questions? Did you have any questions?
No, I just wanted to tell everyone to keep on hanging in there through all of this. And we authors especially appreciate all that teachers are doing right now. And
I'm sorry, there was a couple more questions. It says,
oh, sure.
Interesting that photos came before the writing. Is that true? Most authors are the other way.
Yeah, it happens both ways.
I think it's both ways. Yeah. Is this because the bird photos are unpredictable?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But if you
can look this naturalist up, and I'm not belittling what you guys did because it's unbelievable. But so on my ship was this naturalist. His name was, oh man, I I can think of his, I'm trying to think of his first name. Well, anyways, his last name is Rousseau, Roussouw. He's South African. And he made a bet with a guy that he could photo 1,000 birds in Colombia, in Colombia, South America.
Wow.
And he brought someone with him to verify it because he didn't want to brag that he photoed 1,000 birds. I forget how long it took him, but so that must be the birthplace of the world, Colombia, you know?
Yeah, you know, every year they do a big day, a world big day. And it used to be like Africa would win because there are a lot of British birders now. Now I think the top 5 countries are all in South America.
Yeah, I bet they are.
Yeah.
So can you imagine? You guys are going to do that. You're going to end up down to Colombia and photographing 1,000 birds. You are.
Yeah, well, if Brent Farmer will underwrite me here, I'd be happy to go out there and do that. So I don't know if he's listening. I hope he is today, though.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, everybody, thank you very much. And I guess what would I say to kids? Get off your couch, stop watching video games, get out, look for birds, look for grubs, look for periwinkles, look for snails. If you ever get to go on a trip, go on the trip. Don't stand around at home. Do your best. And it's something you can look forward to. Hey, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks for having a great show, Sneed. I really enjoyed it.
Me too. Thanks for having me.